My blood ran cold on the internet the other day because I saw this headline. Spotify acquires WhoSampled, announces expanded song credits. So, top line, headline from me is what this means is I'm going to jail. That's what it means. I'm going to jail. All of my crimes will be exposed for everyone to see. I'm going to be sued 6 ways from Sunday, along with most of my rap friends. We're all going under various jails. They won't even do us the courtesy of putting us in the same jail. We're going to go under various prisons. The sample sourcing website will continue to operate as a standalone platform and brand, according to a statement. It just makes me think about when I first discovered WhoSampled. It used to be called the Rap Sample FAQ. And it's basically a log of crimes. See, this is the thing about WhoSampled, formerly Rap Sample FAQ. It is literally a log, and very accurate in most cases, of the songs that were sampled to make hip hop songs, or all manner of song now. It's not even restricted to hip hop. But if something's got sampled and people identify it, they put it on this sample FAQ, and it was largely user generated. I think it still might be. So this might be the largest user generated data source of crimes in the world, because the website WhoSampled, formerly known as Rap Sample FAQ, is not concerned with whether or not a sample has been cleared. So if a producer sampled a record and didn't clear it with the original copyright holder, and an artist heard this beat and rapped over it and either didn't ask what the sample sources were, or figured that they were too under the radar to have to pay for it, and they didn't, and this music came out into the world, realizing that largely the detection of said sampling would have been up to people's keen ears, right? And they just went ahead and pushed her through anyway. As you know, I can say that myself and a bunch of my rap friends have done. Rap Sample FAQ or the current WhoSampled.com. It didn't matter to them whether it was a crime.
Safe Travel's donated $2. Spotify can't keep getting away with all this hate against black art. Lowell acquiring WhoSampled is insane.
Thanks for the donation. I didn't catch all that because I was mid yap, but thank you for the donation. The website doesn't care if the sample is cleared or not, and it's all there to be seen. And now Spotify has bought it, and Spotify is going to roll this information into their credits. Wow, there's going to be suddenly a lot more rap crime on display. Spotify has acquired the sample sourcing website WhoSampled. The streaming service announced it is rolling out a new feature called Song DNA, which will aggregate and centralize samples. Song DNA. Aggregate and centralize samples and covers of songs based on the WhoSampled database. So this also pisses me off too, because what this is saying is they're going to make it where you can click on the sample and see other songs that sampled it. They won't even do that for like independent record labels. They won't make it where, like, if you click on my label Auto Reverse, and it would show you all of the albums that Auto Reverse put out. Wouldn't that be helpful for me? And that's something that even the giant record labels have been asking Spotify to do for years. And it's refused to do a thing that might be helpful. But since it's bought its new database of music crime, it's going to make that clickable and easy to navigate. So let's say you're a very litigious copyright lawyer, and you'd like to you're awake and you've opened your newspaper and you're sipping your morning coffee and you're wondering, who could I sue today? It'll be really easy to just go on Spotify and click Clyde Stubblefield's or James Brown's Funky Drummer and just sue a bunch of people, many of which are probably inches away from the poorhouse as it is. The streaming service announced it's rolling out a new feature called Song DNA, which will aggregate and centralize samples and covers of songs based on the WhoSampled database. According to a statement from WhoSampled, the site will continue to operate as a standalone platform and brand. So you'll still be able to put your crime logs on there as a user. Don't worry, the Spotify bought it. You can still log people's crimes, whether they're into it or not, on their website. Don't you worry. As of today, Spotify is also expanding its song credits feature to include all personnel who worked on a given song. The platform first introduced song credits in 2018, a year after Tidal began publicly displaying song and album credits, but previously listed only top-line performers, songwriters, and producers. Every song is a collaboration, and every contributor should be seen, said Spotify's Jacqueline Ankner. You know, I think if you're a corporation called Spotify, I don't know if you should get into conversations that use the word should. I don't know if you should do that, because should artists be paid a fraction of a penny whenever their music is played? Are we doing shoulds, Spotify? Because I don't know if you want to get into a should conversation. I'm not sure you have the platform. I'm not sure you have the standing ethically to do that. I'm not sure if they should pay artificial intelligence using people. Anyway, yeah, because Spotify, they have their own like artists that use AI and they know it and they pay them like they're real people and they hire them. So basically that's them paying royalties to themselves. Should they do that? I don't know. Let's ask them, you know? With expanded song credits, Song DNA, and About the Song, we're giving fans a deeper look at the people and creative threads behind the music they love and giving creators the recognition they deserve. It's so nice of them. It's another step in Spotify's work to champion the people, connections, and stories that bring every track to life. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. If only we could get an entire penny. I wonder if they would champion us by giving us the rest of the penny. Oh, WhoSampled? Yep. When I first discovered that website, what I used to do was I would go through my favorite albums, some of which I had already stolen through various peer-to-peer networks. And I would go through each song and I would go through each sample and I would try to go also steal the sampled song, because at that time I was a big old music criminal. It reminds me of the difference between my mindset now and my mindset then, right? Because my mindset then was, oh, look, music's free now. So let me get all the music I can without paying for it, find out everything I can, and then go back and find the music that went into music that I love and didn't pay for it. Also not pay for that. And it's all okay. But what I've learned is that a big part of the reason why mainstream music doesn't contain, or the big reason that mainstream rap music isn't as varied as it used to be, why it doesn't have all the options that it used to have, is because people like me stopped paying for it. The people like me who used to buy the albums by people like Organized Confusion and De La Soul, who we'll get to today, and Common and Mos Def and all of these people, those offices within those record labels that were pushing these subgenres of music were very dependent on people like me paying $10 each time I wanted to own one of these albums. So when people like me, especially, stop doing that, suddenly that office got shut down within that record label. They stopped seeing a reason to put a line item in the budget to make music that appealed to underground rap fans, since underground rap fans, like myself, stopped paying for music. Right? So that crime is part of the original sin of underground hip hop going away. And it was partly aided by the rap sample FAQ, the log of crimes that all of us criminals would use. And I know a lot of people love that website. I remember, and I pulled this up so I could revisit it. I tweeted this on September 8th, 2024. So this is over a year ago. Someone named Hash Jenny did an engagement tweet that said, "Who's not police but feels like police to you?" Dog Sweat, thank you for the gifted. My answer was WhoSampled. This got 48 comments, 615 retweets, 7.2 thousand likes. These replies were not happy, though. People were not happy that I was shitting on their favorite website, WhoSampled.com. And what it exposed to me was that a lot of people do not know how the music business of rap works. They really don't know. They really think everything is above board, and that all of the sampled artists and all of the producers and all of the rappers are all skipping through the poppies and sharing this fraction of a penny with each other. That's what people think is happening. I'm here to tell you, it's not how it is. It's not how it is. This person replied with, and remember, I said, WhoSampled feels like the police. This person said, then Wikipedia and an album's literal liner notes would be the police too. And I said, do you need me to tell you why that makes zero sense? And they said yes. So let me explain to those that don't know. Wikipedia will only include, and I say only in that I'm 99.9% sure of this, Wikipedia will only include verified sources for samples. So what that means is they will include the cleared samples that are announced via business means. So that's the stuff that would have ended up in the liner notes. And like this person says, an album's literal liner notes. The album's literal liner notes will only include the samples that they have cleared. Okay? That's a huge difference between what happens on WhoSampled.com. Like I said previously, WhoSampled.com and the users who generate the information that comprises that website are not concerned with whether or not a sample is cleared. This is why the term sample snitching exists. Sample snitching is not about samples that are cleared. If it's cleared, then it's lawful and it's legal. That means providing that information is not snitching. However, going through a song with a fine-tooth comb and finding every drum that was taken from every song and every sample that was flipped backwards and filtered and chopped up and presented in a website that can be bought by a giant corporation that uses artificial intelligence in all sorts of ways means that all of this log of crime will now be used by robots to display information that will get us all sent to prison. Now, I'm being hyperbolic about how it will end up, but this is a real challenge, a real obstacle to sampling, and there've been a lot of obstacles to sampling. I mean, hip hop, by its nature, especially in terms of how it was originally created and how some of the classic albums that we love were made, through a couple of very key legal battles, one including De La Soul and the Turtles, another including Bismarcky and Gilbert O'Sullivan, I believe. This method of putting music together was declared illegal. And that decision, or series of decisions, largely shaped the sound of mainstream rap going forward forever. That's why stuff ended up moving in the direction of Swiss Beats, Pharrell and the Neptunes. And of course, within that, there's some people who can operate within that framework brilliantly. But it moved towards people who knew how to play music and use synthesizers and use keyboards, because it moved away from samples because samples were illegal. So it became a lot more risky for a giant record label to pay a lot of money, hiring the services of rappers and paying a lot of money to promote their albums if there was so much legal risk involved. So that sort of defined where the mainstream went. Part of the benefit of being underground or independent was that you would fly under the radar. Like I said, it would take the keen ears of people who really knew what they were listening to even catch some of the stuff that was sampled, because not enough units were being moved. The albums weren't coming up on a high enough profile to cause these projects to be called out for this illegal sampling. But now they're going to use robots. So sampling's in trouble, folks. And I'll be sad to see what may happen. And then, even beyond the hypotheticals for the future of the genre, I don't know how to protect myself and my previously released works if highly litigious lawyers come knocking. Honestly, early in my career, I'd say my first 3 or 4 albums, I didn't even ask what the producers were doing. I have cleared exactly 1 sample in my life. I wonder if any of y'all could guess what it was, but I've cleared 1 sample in my life. And it cost a lot of money. And I decided from that point forward, I was probably never going to do that again. It cost too much money to do. And it didn't even cost like an arm and a leg, but the margins for profit are so razor thin on these projects that it's really difficult to justify paying whatever number a copyright holder thinks they deserve. I mean, and that's not to say that they shouldn't have a price. I'm just saying my thought process became either I can get away with it or I shouldn't use it. And that's also, I think it's also important with all of that information in mind, that, producers make some effort to, make an artistic creation out of what they're sampling. So you're not just rapping over the theme of the Bozo Show and acting like nobody should care. I mean, we got into that conversation a little bit when it came to West Side Gun using the WWE stuff, right? Like, if you're just taking it and using it, if you reach a certain level of popularity at some point, it's going to be like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that no more. But if you're taking things and using them in ways that are largely undetectable, that should be worth something. It should be worth something. Like and subscribe, homie, friend. It's free. Stop playing.